Good evening, parents and people and staff. Thank you for joining me for this grade 8 information evening. I think everybody is in and we're going to start. Please close your eyes for the prayer. Heavenly Father, you know every decision we need to make and every challenge we face. Please forgive us for the times we try to figure this life out on our own. We need you. We need your Holy Spirit to give us strength, wisdom, and direction. Amen. At the end of this evening, end of this presentation, I'll allow questions again. Please, there's Mrs. Drew's number, Jo Marie's number. So please contact her or send her WhatsApp if you would like us to answer your questions at the end. As I always say, questions that I've answered during the presentation, I'll just not answer them at the end. Just to remind ourselves again, as a school, what are we part of? And for you, that's a grade 7 parents and sending your kids next year to the high school. We need to look at, again, or to remind ourselves again, what is our mission as a school? And that is, of course, to be a faith-based school of distinctive excellence, growing well-rounded young people who are equipped to be socially responsible role models in an ever-changing world. And I think, as I now said a couple of evenings already, is that social responsible role models currently goes further. Now currently it also entails to ensure that we look after ourselves by maintaining physical distance, wearing our masks when we're in public, washing our hands. That all goes hand in hand with being socially responsible role models. And of course, if we keep ourselves safe, we also keep our neighbors safe. And then also to prepare our pupils for an ever-changing world. And we saw how the world can change overnight, especially with this COVID-19, how it changed overnight. And nobody in January or February even thought that there will be something like COVID-19 hitting the world. And look how we as schools, you as business owners, and working for government, how we all had to change our ways and quickly had to prepare for an ever-changing world. And I do believe as a school, we also are preparing the kids in this sense as well for an ever-changing world. If you look at our core values, may I just ask that please just mute yourselves if you are unmuted. Mr. Chloma, can you also just go through the list for me and just make sure that everybody is muted? Also, if I look at values, our school's core values are faith, integrity, excellence, belonging, and care. And I think especially in the times we live in, we are a Christian school. And how else can we survive these pressures that we all experience regarding COVID-19, besides having faith in God, and that He's got a plan with this whole COVID-19. Also, integrity that links to honesty, excellence, belonging, and care. And I think that's especially the last two, that we need to create a sense of belonging and care for each other during this difficult time as well. 2020, that's more or less what happened to our 2020 year. It's a bit broken. And what's the challenges that we faced in 2020? I had tea with the grade 7s last week, or hot chocolate. And I said to them, one thing that we are definitely going to struggle with going forward is the lack of camaraderie due to on and off campus learning. Every grade currently are half their friends are here and half their friends are not here. And that is what at school. And all the grades next year will have to regroup once COVID-19 is over and all the kids are back on campus. And already the challenge is there to ensure that we pull together and stay together as a school and as a grade during this time where half our kids are being homeschooled. In actual fact, 70% of our kids are being homeschooled and 30% that's back on campus. And that is one of the big challenges, is to keep this family feeling and to keep everybody tight during this time. And we as parents and staff and pupils need to work hard to ensure that this family stay in as one. Also, what doesn't help is that all sport and cultural events are cancelled. We have to do online prize givings. That is totally different than before. We are also going to see how we can do the grade 7 end of year farewell, but again, that's a challenge. We don't know exactly how we're going to do this, but we are looking at somehow to do some sort of farewell for them at the end of the year in the primary school before they move over to the high school. And then also another challenge that's coming up is that the pupils, especially those who are studying online, is not adhering to due dates, or there's late submissions. And the reminder here as well, and you saw my letter that I sent out last week Thursday to everybody, is please adhere to due dates and stay away from late submissions, because the staff just does not have the capacity to deal with that as well. And then also just a reminder that the teachers cannot make up 4 months of missed lessons. Sorry, pupils need to stay in line with the curriculum and in line with the program that we are offering. And I also said the grade 7s last week that if they, when I had Car Chocolate, and those who were not there, I want to remind you again that if you've fallen behind, be honest, tell the staff I'm behind. They cannot reteach our syllabus for you, but they can look at ways to advise you how to catch up to ensure that you are ready for this coming exams as well as for the end of the year exams. And then also another challenge is that we normally try to limit our kids on screen time, and then unfortunately, because we are doing these lessons online, pupils are now more inclined to have screen time, and we also know that is also not good in itself. So therefore, parents, I really need to appeal to you tonight that limit your kids on screen time. They need screen time to do their lessons, especially if they're online. But otherwise, please limit them from using now the devices for more social media as well, because they're already on screens for the lessons, and we should not encourage them to stay on these screens 24/7. And those are just a couple of the challenges that we've experienced this year. And then I want to remind you, and the pupils as well listening tonight, that social media is not your friend. Social media is a tool we've started so that we can ask ourselves, how are you doing? The reminder, what time is the meeting again tomorrow morning? That's how social media started, but now it's got out of hand, and we can all see the extent of social media and the damage that it's causing in the world as well. But also social media for our pupils means that they are spending more time on their screens. Parents, ensure that if your kids are doing online learning, that they are using those screens for online learning during the lessons, and that they are not sitting on social media, for example, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApps. Also, that they are ensuring that that you also checking their devices, that you're ensuring that you check the devices, check what's going on their phones. As I also said to them last week, that we as a school take a tough stance towards social media bullying. We have again this year removed 2 kids from the school that made themselves guilty of this. We do take this very seriously. Also, again, check what your kids are sending on social media, check who they're chatting with. As I always say to you, it's your phone, you're paying for it. They are users of it, but it's your device, and it's your parent, it's your role as a parent to ensure that you're checking what they are sending. And also, if you pick up that they are deleting messages, you need to ask yourself, why are your kids deleting messages, or why are they deleting photographs? Take the Google history and check what they are Googling as well. This is one danger that we, as when I grew up and when you grew up, we didn't have this in our lives. And therefore, we don't think always of social media as a danger, and the dangers that it have, or that it entails for our kids as well. And that's why I just want to remind you again tonight that we need to protect our kids, and therefore it's your duty as a parent to check what are they doing on their devices, especially during this time where we now know they are using screen time more. Sorry, and just ensure that they are using their devices for the right reason, and also ensure that they are not sourcing the wrong material on their devices. We have a wonderful pupil support program in place. If you are worried about your child, worried about what they're searching, you don't know how to resolve this, Dr. Malene Swiggers are always available to assist. I'm also available. Mr. Homan, Mrs. Ward, we're all available to assist. But parents, I need to appeal to you to please check the device. And if your child does not want to share the device with you, then you must know that there are red lights flashing. If your child is hiding their phones or their devices, if they do it behind closed doors, you have to ask yourself what is going on. And it's our role as parents to then take those devices. It doesn't matter how angry they were with you. Do it now. Don't regret that you've done it too late. And I think as the head, and especially with these kind of dangers we have, I will not fulfill my role if I don't talk openly and hard about social media and the dangers of social media. But also there were opportunities for growth in 2020. First of all, the kids learned time management skills, improve self-motivation, learn accountability, learn to speak up if you need help, learn to adapt to a totally new system. January, February, we were still in a different way of doing things differently, and COVID-19 has forced us as a school to do things differently, and it taught us to adapt. Learn to plan better. Face-to-face learners mixing with different peers, and that we also picked up because 70% of my friends might not be, or my class might not be here, so it means that my friends might not be here, but it now forced me to make friends with other kids that I don't normally would have spoken to, so that we're getting to know my peers that I normally would have not get to know. And then also opportunities for our faith to grow. So let's move over to high school next year. I must be honest, I looked at my photos often and I realized, oh boy, but I picked up weight and I need to make a plan. But there's the three of us. Mr. Chlomo, who's the head of the high school, and Mr. Virtue is the deputy head of the high school. And they will be the two gentlemen that if you have no joy with the staff, those will be the gentlemen that you make contact with. But I can tell you now already that you are in very good hands also next year. You're moving from good hands to good hands next year in the high school as well. So remember that there will be a registered teacher and a subject teacher for your kids next year. And those are the first port of calls. And as I already said, the chances that you won't come right there is 0.01%. But if you don't come right there, then you move it through to Mr. Virtue, who's the deputy head of high school. And then from there, you move to the head of high school, who's Mr. Chloma. And then if you have no joy there, then it moves to me. And that rarely happens. So what is life like as a high school pupil? Fun, as you can see. What's going to happen beginning of next year? Many new pupils, opportunity to make new friends or meet up with old ones from your previous school. So those of you that's moving over from CBC grade 7 to high school grade 8, you will know your friends. But then we also have, probably we will have 25 pupils joining us from other schools across Kimberley. And also some of them that's currently in grade 7 other schools that move across, they are one or two friends that move with them as well to us next year. Next year, there will be, we have capacity for 325 pupils in the high school next year. There will be again 3 grade 8 classes of 25 in a class. just like we have in senior primary. And also, but currently there are two grades. The next year there will be 3. So there's a whole new class joining us. That also always helps, that there are new friends joining. It just regroup this group as well, that they now really feel part of the high school, and there are many new faces and many new friends to make next year as well. Then also, beginning of January, when school starts, is a newcomers day. Also, there will be grade 8 orientation, not initiation. Again, as a school, we take a tough stance against initiation. Orientation is when we show you around. The teachers will meet you. They will tell you how high school work. That's orientation. Initiation, of course, that is when silly things happen and they hurt each other. And as a school, there is no initiation taking place. There is a 2-week orientation program taking place. Also, there's a grade 8 concert to look forward to, and also a grade 8 camp if we're allowed to camp. If not, we will make sure we camp with inverted commas at school. So that's what happened. Then also the staff, beginning of next year, will also, the first week, you will be in different class, different groups. They will ascertain your ability in math and English and etc. And according to that as well, that will be our diagnostic tool to see how we're going to plan the year 4 going forward. But you will notice as well in English and math that specifically, we ask you to do almost like little tests or little teaching classes going on, so that we can see what's your ability, and that we can ensure that you are in the right class at the end of the day. Grade 8 concert, there's a photo. And then also the grade 8 camp, as you can see, that lots of fun. What's the difference between primary school and high school? There's a heavier workload, greater responsibility and accountability. And as I said to the grade 7s last week, in the primary school, and I know Mrs. Water, Mr. Homan is listening tonight as well, and I say it's the biggest respect. But in the primary school, there is still an opportunity where they say to them, here's the spoon, open your mouth, close your mouth, we help you to swallow. That's primary school. High school, they say to you, here's a spoon. And you have an option to take it and eat it and to swallow yourself. If not, you're going to lose out at the high school. So there is greater responsibility and accountability. The teachers normally ease the grade 8s into this beginning for the first 6 months, but then they will quickly start learning that now I'm on my own and I need to be responsible and accountable. And also with this, again, is with due dates as well, to adhere to this. The high school staff do not remind you about due dates and that you're missing assessments. They'll inform your parents, yes, but they're not going to give you an opportunity and another opportunity and another opportunity. The primary school staff are very nice staff. The high school staff, they're nice, but you're starting to become young adults and they treat you like that. And that is why, and the IB curriculum also requires us to do that with you as well, to teach you greater responsibility and accountability, because we don't teach you that, you're going to fall short in university. Also, something to look forward to in an exam, there are block days. Not many, but you might have 1 or 2 block days during an exam block, so that's something to look forward to. There's, of course, now aftercare, and your school uniform, only for girls, look a bit different, and there we go. There's no tunics. It's a skirt and stockings, but otherwise the uniform look exactly the same. And of course, boys, you are allowed to wear short pants if you want to. Then in the afternoons, there are a homework class, as they call it, or study classes. And that is where in the afternoons, there's staff on duty on the roster system from 2:30 until 4:30, where you in the afternoons can go and sit. All the teachers do there is they do keep register of who's there. And what they do is they check that they keep an exam kind of environment there where you can quietly sit and do your homework. So if you have extramurals that day, once that started again, or mom and dad can only fetch you at 4:30, There's no reason for you to roam around on campus. We give you that opportunity where you can go and sit there, and the teachers, as I said, keep it quiet, and they keep almost like an exam environment where you can sit and do your homework. If it's time for you to go for your extramural, or mom or dad arrive to fetch, then you may leave. Also, if you want to leave the class to go and ask the teacher a question, if they're still here in the afternoon, you're more than welcome to go and do that as well. But this, again, is accountability and responsibility. Nobody's going to ask you or tell you to be there. That opportunity is there for you to go and sit there and do your work. And this, parents, is at no cost. This is a service we give you. Also, there's the annual study skills course that we also do. And also the teachers offer support classes. Some happens on Saturdays, some happen in the afternoon, some might happen, some teachers might do it in the afternoon and the Saturday morning. It depends on subject and it depends on the teacher. And then also, as I mentioned, the pupil support department, they are there to support you as the pupils. If you go through a tough time emotionally or stuff at home, and for you as parents as well, they're there to support in any way they can. If you just want to advise as well about something that your child might be struggling with, non-academic. So your child might be struggling with something non-academic, then you can also contact them and they will assist. The size of the school lends itself to a very caring and personal learning experience. And then, of course, the IEB, and that is why you're part of us as an independent school, because we offer the independent examination board exam. And it's shocking that if you sometimes ask a grade 11 and 12 parent, what's the difference between an IEB and government? They say to you, I don't know. I just know that it's better for my child to be here than in the government system. There's a lot of advantages being part of the IEB. The biggest one of them is that it's internationally recognized. Number two, the papers, the whole curriculum, the way the teachers teach is teaching these kids to be analytical, critical thinkers. And that's why we always say a child that can go in the IB system and they're going to take a textbook, learn it from A to Z and put it down on paper can get 60%. If they cannot apply that knowledge, they can't get more. And that is what the IB curriculum is teaching you, is to apply your knowledge. Because what are you going to do in university? You will have to be able to apply your knowledge. When you work one day, you will have the theoretical knowledge, but you need to apply it. And just look how COVID-19 has asked us to think out of the box and to apply our skills, but to think differently and critically to ensure that the school is still running successfully during a very difficult time. If we as a management team, for example, were not critical thinkers, we would have been in trouble. And that is what the IB and what we as a school teach these kids. And you probably would have realized already in grade 6 and 7, we already started preparing them for what they're going to experience in the high school. And that is one of the biggest advantages of the IB, is besides that it's internationally recognized, that they are becoming analytical and critical thinkers to be able to apply their knowledge. Because all of you that have businesses, a book smart person is no use to you. A person that's book smart but can also apply that knowledge and can think on their feet and apply that knowledge on a daily basis, they are the staff that you know that you hang on to. Those are the assets that you hang on to. And that is what we as a school try to prepare them for when they go to university. Also, the question I normally get, yeah, but the IB system is more difficult than government. My child wants to go in medical and engineering, and we're worried that they won't get into those faculties because it's hard. Our system is harder, and it's going to cost them their university points that they need to apply for. I need to remind you that the universities have introduced the benchmark tests a couple of years ago, because they said they do not trust the results, the matric results as is anymore, for various reasons. And therefore the universities started the benchmark exams, and in grade 11 and 12 the kids can write these benchmark exams, And many universities has made that part of the entry requirements. You have to write that benchmark exam if you want to go into that specific university. And that is why the IEB kids, 98% of them, and that's an IEB stat, 98% of IEB kids get into their first choice course of first choice. Why? Because they do extremely well on these benchmark tests. And that is what universities, they do look at your matric certificate. They ensure that the results there do tie up, but they also take into account this benchmark exam. On top of that, they also ask who is your examining body on your exam forms. Majority of them have now gone online, and you will see that it will say it's IEB, and you'll choose our school, and they'll immediately know that we are IEB school. And all of this they've done because they realize they cannot take matric results as is anymore for clearance or for admissions to take them into university. And this is why the IEB kids, as I said, 98% of the kids of IEB kids that matriculate get into their first choice. Because if you haven't gone through a system, when you apply to university, they will say to you, what's your first choice course, what's your second choice, and what's your third choice. And that's where, if I want to become a doctor, I'll say, I would like to become a doctor, but if I can't become a doctor, then I would like to do my BSc course. So open a back door to get in as a doctor. And so you can say that your second course and third course, I want to become, rather than become a physio, if I can't just go for medical immediately. And it's all of these things that they take into account. But as I said, 98% of kids, IB kids, get it into their first choice course. And so that fear, you can wipe that away tonight, because the kids in the IB system they do look out for them, because they know also an IB child is a child that is a critical and analytical thinker, and that's what universities are looking for. Also, on top of that, they also, on top of that, the stat-wise, 97% of kids or IB pupils finish their degree in the required period. So if I'm doing a 3-year course, 97% of the IB kids that's doing a 3-year course finish it within 3 years. That means they didn't fail. That's high. Then it goes up to 98.9% of correction for those who might have repeated a year. So then they finish within 4 years. And then there are some that just never finish. This is a comparison to 46% of government who's finishing their degree within the required period. And that is just because the way the IB prepares this IB system, and we as a school and the staff prepare these kids for university. I hope that makes sense. Then also in grade 7 this year, they would have written the match exam, which is an IB exam, but unfortunately, due to COVID-19, the match exam was postponed, and meaning that our grade 7s this year will not write it. But the staff do have the latest match paper as well, and they will make it available to the grade 7s and to work through so that they can see what they would have covered if they'd written the match exam. And then also, we do the SSTs, and we also do the IBTs, which are all benchmarking tests, which is international. The IBTs, some of them are UK and some of them come from Australia. They are benchmark exams. So our kids will write it, and then we in grade 11, and then we can benchmark us against international standards as a school, because they give you a school result and say to you, this is how other South African schools have done, and this is how other international schools have done. So you benchmark yourself to see how your kids doing, and they normally do this in math and English. Then also the school's overall results has been improving since 2016. Overall, our averages have improved from 58 to 65%, so that's a 7% increase. Our matrics last year has also done extremely well, and every year we have an improvement in our matric results as well. Then, of course, we are not just looking out for the top achievers. You've also already realized now that a child that normally are 50% average, if they can increase their average from 50 to 55%, so more than 5% or more from one term to the next, they also get a badge to say, well done, you've worked hard to be able to because to be able to, if I'm going to wrap myself, to increase your average by 5% from one term to the next, that's hard work, and you've done extremely well, and that's why even we acknowledge them for their hard work. And then just a reminder that grade 7 is already the start of the GET phase, General Education and Training phase. So 7, 8, and 9 is one phase, and then they go to FET, which is Further Education and Training, and that is grade 10, 11, and 12. So grade 7, 8, and 9, one phase. That's why this year they've started doing EMS in grade 7, because EMS is also part of grade 8 and grade 9. And there's your subject choices for next year. So of course, English home language is compulsory because we're English home language school. Then you will be able to choose between Afrikaans and Setswana. And then life orientation and mathematics are compulsory. Then again, I can choose between drama and music, but remember, you must already have grade 2 music to be able to continue with music. Sorry. Then also your compulsory NS, Natural Sciences, which is a combination of physical science and biology, economic and management science, which is a combination between accounting and business studies. This year, they just did business studies. Grade 8 and grade 9, they will start doing a combination of business studies and accounting together. Then there's social sciences, which of course is a combination between geography and history, and then they do computer technology. And they combine these subjects so that they can get a taste of every subject, but remember in grade 10, 11, 12, then they can choose. They will still always, grade 10 and 12, have to do English because we're English home language school. They can continue choosing between Afrikaans and Setswana, but if you've chosen Afrikaans next year, then of course you'll continue Afrikaans up to grade 12. The same with Setswana. We might allow you in grade 8 to change between the two, but there must be very good reasons why you change. Allo is compulsory, that you'll also do 10, 11, 12. Mathematics, compulsory. We do also offer mathematics literacy in grade 10, 11, and 12. So in grade 10, 11, 12, you can choose between maths and mathematical literacy. Then mathematical literacy is more everyday maths. For example, rates and taxes. I got a bill and I need to work out my rates and taxes. I want to travel from Cape Town to Joburg. How much is it going to cost me to work, and what's my fuel consumption going to be, and etc. So it's those kind of maths that we basically use on a daily basis. That's what they do in mathematical literacy. I've simplified it. Of course, there's more complicated things in there as well. Then also natural sciences. We give you a taste of physical sciences and biology, because in grade 10, again, you'll choose either physical science, biology. Depends on the lines. You might be able to do both. EMS, I will choose between accounting and business studies, where you might decide, I'm not going to do any commerce subjects. Then you have to choose other subjects. And then, of course, you'll can also choose between geography and history in grade 10, 11, and 12. Or if you want to do computer technology, breaks up into IT, which has really become programming and those kind of things, or it breaks up into computer application technology. We better do a bit of programming, but that's more how Excel, Word, and those kind of things work as well. So that's, again, more the everyday software that I'll use and IT is showing you the background, how things work behind the scenes, how this computer works. You do it in CAT as well, but especially how to code, how to program. That is IT. So these subjects give you a good taste of what you can experience in 10 and 12, and that you can make a more informed decision when you get to grade 9 to choose these subjects for 10, 11, and 12. It says here in grade 8 and 9, the only choices between Afrikaans and Setswana as FAL, and drama and music. All the other subjects are compulsory. And what do you need to pass? You must get 50% in English. You must then also get 40% in your first additional language, and 40% in maths, and 40% in 4 other learning areas. That is the minimum requirements to pass. But also as a school, the classroom is not just at school, the world is also a classroom, and that's why under my headship, we've introduced Excursions, because that expand the wall of the classroom. It develop values of cooperation. It becomes a social, environmental problem solvers, and it encouraged teamwork as well. And also the grade bond more when they're away from mom and dad and they spend a week together. But also, we've also under my headship introduced optional international tours. You know that the camp every year is compulsory. That's the first bullet. The second bullet, international tours, that is always optional. We would have gone to Italy this year, but due to COVID-19, that is now will probably be cancelled. If we can't cancel it, we'll just postpone it till next year. But we're trying to see if we can cancel it, and then maybe we might go to a new destination next year. If we can't cancel it and just postpone it until next year, September, then it will be Italy. But Mr. Virtue, he is the gentleman that organized these international tours. And we've spoken this afternoon. We'll see where we can go next year if Italy gets totally cancelled. And also the grade 8s, you do your you do your camp at the beginning of the year, and that's normally at Willowbank. It's just around the corner. But as I said, because we don't know if you're allowed to camp next year, we might just do something fun here at on campus. Then also innovation and robotics. It encourages integrated learning. Innovation has become a necessity. You've also seen now we have smart televisions in every classroom. Thankfully we have, because it just made COVID-19 so much to now face-to-face learning. It just made things so much easier. All the educators have access to Wi-Fi. All pupils currently on campus have access to Wi-Fi. And then also robotics is an extra curricular activity. They've got a beginners club, an intermediate club, and an advanced club. Mr. Begley runs that. Again, we really wanted to launch our robotics going big this year, and then COVID-19 happened. So I know he's eager to get his clubs going next year as well. And then also with the online learning, lesson material will be used for support purposes. So everything we do this year, all the PowerPoints that we're building, etc., is not going to be filed away when COVID-19 is over and we're all back on campus. Sorry, we will continue in using this material and enhance this material to be able to use them for our support classes as well. You can see some robotics taking place. Then also in the high school, they've got a merit and demerit system. So demerit is when you're naughty, and a merit system when you are doing something well or you overachieved. And then, of course, we also have the academic achievers breakfast, like you had in the primary school as well. Then the sport in the high school is biathlon, cricket, boys and girls, golf, tennis, hockey for boys and girls, netball, soccer, swimming, boys and girls, of course, cross country, chess, and athletics. We just highlighted cricket with boys and girls because cricket are normally just a boys' sport. That changed over the couple of years, last years. We also allow girls to play cricket. Then you have an all-girls team. Hockey as well. We've got an all-girls team, and we have a boys' team as well. All other sports here as well are also for both genders, except netball. Netball is only for girls. And that's the league rules. There's no boys to be allowed in there. And also linking to this, the Keeley Park development is going very well. And of course, if all goes well next year, you'll be able to play your hockey on the new Astro, and netball in the high school, they will play it on a new netball courts. And those courts also now have lights. So we hope that next year we can host a couple of festivals and matches under lights. I still believe my best matches was when I played under lights. I was a rugby boy, and I still think that was my nicest matches and my best matches I played when I played under lights. It's just something different, and I hope that the boys and girls are looking forward to have that opportunity next year as well. Then also on a cricket point of view as well, the cricket nets here in Backfield and Keeley Park have now been totally renovated. It's the latest technology. We're one of 3 schools in South Africa that have this technology installed at our school. Also, our gully, they're starting next week renovating our gully as well, the clubhouse at Keeley. As I said before, we are not going to build a brand new clubhouse as planned due to COVID-19. We rather hanging on to our rands and cents, but the gully will be totally renovated to a host. So there's bathrooms, there's a tuck shop, there's a kitchen, everything in there. So this is something exciting and really something to look forward to as well. Then from a cultural and service activities, there's debating and public speaking. The Collegian is a student-run newspaper that they also will do, of course, also has now come to a halt this year due to COVID-19. Then there's the Edmund Rice Society, there's the Land Service Club as well, Rotary Interact, and then also Eco Schools. School of the Arts, continue with their music, the arts, dance, drama, choir, and orchestra. Also, they get exposed to quarterly concerts, MadFest, international exams, and drama production. But again, all of this, quarterly concert, MadFest, international exams, drama production, all of them also have suffered this year due to COVID-19. But hopefully next year, they are all back in place. This year would have been our 5th MadFest. We really wanted to go big with it, but unfortunately COVID-19 has put a halt to that. But hopefully next year we can have a wonderful MadFest. There's the drama pupils to do some fashion in newspapers, and there's the orchestra. And the choir, that's the high school choir. And there is now a boys choir as well that started this year. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has put a stop to that as well. But there's the girls choir and the boys choir in the high school. And Mrs. Solomon's also looking to see if she can combine these choirs as well. And of course, if we can, we would like to have a production next year as well. Then there's a full Honours and Colours committee and policy in place at the high school. That's also something new. If you have achieved in a certain area and you've made the minimum requirements, then you can get a scroll, or you can get a blue blazer, which is the honours blazer. And if you really achieved well, then you can get the colours blazer, which is the white cream blazer. Normally, that gets awarded to somebody in grade 12. We just had a grade 12 that matriculated last year that got his colours blazer this year. So this is a total transparent process. You can already go tonight on the website and you'll see where it is. You go on our website, you go under the Your Life tab, and you will find the Honours and Colours policy, and you will see if I'm in gymnastics, what do I need to do to qualify for not just a scroll, but for a blue blazer, if that's what you're after. And what I also really like about our Honours and Colours policy, sometimes you might not be shining in one area, but you, for example, give your time. There's a service award. You can even get a blue blazer for giving your time and for working hard in the community and etc. Go and look for that service award as well. Then there's also an all-round blue blazer as well that you can qualify for. This Honours and Colours policy really caters for every child. Again, you do not have to be a provincial player to qualify for a colours blazer, or to be an academic achiever to be able to get an Honours and Colours blazer. You can get it as well, even if you are just an all-rounder. So I'm not shining in any area, but I'm an all-rounder, and I can maybe achieve it that way, or I can achieve it by giving my time and service and working hard in that sense as well. So if you really go and have a look, you will see it caters for all of you. Then also we do recognize external achievements as well. So for example, we don't offer horse riding or equestrian, but if you achieve an equestrian, we will then award it as well. So you go and look, and if you exceptional dancer or you're artist, whatever you do, and you are getting external to you achieved outside the school as well, we take those into account as well in our Honours and Colours policy. As you can see, this year was a bit different with the Honours and Colours. We had to do it online, but there you can see Keisha Sampson getting, for example, her blue blazer this year as well. And under correction now, but I think 8 kids, 8 high school pupils received blue blazers at this last Honours and Colours assembly. Then there's also inter-house events. For example, in that inter-house swimming gala, there's the inter-house newcomers concert, the pancake relay, inter-house hockey, inter-house cricket, inter-house soccer, inter-house netball. There's the St. Patrick's Day tug of war, inter-house debating, public speaking, one-act plays, merits and demerits, we take that into account as well, and then also inter-house academic aggregate. All of this counts to the house points at the end of the day to see who's going to win, to be the winning house at the end of the year. Also, even more important than inter-house events is the annual inter-house charity trophy. As a CBC school, outreach and helping others is the most important thing that we do. The charity trophy earns the most points for a house, which is rightly so. Linking our back to our mission statement, we are socially responsible role models. We create a sense of care and belonging for everybody. We also participate in annual charity drives, such as the winter blanket collection and tin food drives. And what's the high school goal? For you to have fun while you are learning. As I've said numerous times, to make a critical thinker out of you. For you to be able to become a strategizer, especially this time. If you can't strategize during COVID-19, you're in trouble. Planning under pressure. Again, how did we as a school and your parents, everybody had to plan under pressure. And we as a school teach you that skill. God forbid we have COVID-19 again in the life, but there's always something that comes up and we need to be able to plan under pressure. Teamwork. There is no I in team. And that's, I think, once again, something so important at our school is that we have family and we teach teamwork. It's very easy to be on your own. It's very difficult to be a team player, and we're trying to encourage you to be a team player. To socialize, but you heard about what I said about social media, but to socialize. And that's why also during breaks, we encourage you to stay off your phones, because in high school, you're allowed to bring your phones to school, but we encourage you to stay away from it during break, because we want you to look in each other's eyes and to chat. That's why you're at school. And also, we teach you many, many life skills as well during your 5 years at school. And a reminder, and I did say this last week as well, is that the triangle, the parent, child, teacher, that partnership is extremely important. The school can't function without the parent involvement. The school can't function if the teacher and parent are involved, but the child's not. You cannot function if we are not involved as a school. We are one team. Be the best version of you. And that's what I said last week to the grade 7s. And I might have said to you, I was a bit hard on them when I went for TU. But grade 7s think a little bit, they forget sometimes that they're only 13. They think they are 13. There's a difference. They're also trying to get involved in things that 18, 19, 20-year-olds might be involved with, but they think already they can do things like that. And what am I referring to? For example, there's reasons why there's age restrictions on movies. There's reasons why there's age restrictions on games. There's a reason why you're only allowed to drink when you're over 18, etc., etc. And what I also said to the grade 8s today when I had coffee, they must not try to force themselves to be adults. And we as parents and kids and staff must also not force them on that. We must really encourage kids during this time, day and age, to be kids and to enjoy it to be a child. Childhood became a burden. We must not do that. And we as parents and staff must try to keep the situation and life as light as possible for them. They need to understand that there's accountability and responsibility, but we must not shift adult responsibility onto kids. That's why I also said to you, check their social media, because they sometimes themselves think that they are ready to see things, do things which they are not ready for. And that's why we as parents and staff must be there for them, to help them. But they must enjoy their childhood. They hate the word they're a child, but that's what they are. They're a child. And we think fondly back to our childhood days because we didn't have to deal with half what these kids are dealing with. Thankfully, they don't have the opportunities that they have. But that's why even with the more the world becomes closer and smaller, the more the challenges become for our kids. And that's why we as adults need to ensure that we keep them realistic, that there's a world out there, but try to keep them as innocent as possible. Seen things that you've seen, things that you heard, cannot be unheard, cannot be unseen. And therefore, we need to protect them. I said to the grade 8s this morning, when they go to university, they will think, shoot, I miss a Miss Rudu that was looking over my shoulder. I'm missing my mom and dad that was looking over my shoulder. They will hate it now, and rightly so. One day they will turn around and say, thank you, because we realize you still didn't cut us off from the outside world. We knew that there's things happening. We're realistic, but you still looked after us and protected us. And that is the role of us as a school and as you as a parent. And that's why we are strict in many areas at the school, because we protect your little one at the end of the day. And I would really appeal to you tonight for your backing as well. If your child misses a due date, don't come and fight with me. Let your child pay the consequence. Ask us how we can assist, but don't come and fight with me. You are not helping your child. If your child is bullied for using a phone, don't come and fight with me, fight with your child. We will assist and we will help you. If your child is in the wrong, accept it. If myself or the school is wrong, we'll accept it. But this will help us to be the best version we can be if we support each other and that we are honest with each other and really realize, okay, my child's wrong, help him. Jacques, the school's wrong, and I'll accept it if we're wrong, help us. That is how we can just build the best school, and we can build the best versions of ourselves as well. And with that, we can also teach the kids a valuable skill of communication and how to resolve conflict as well. Right, let's move over to questions. Germany says no questions. Doesn't check the chat room. Doesn't look like there's anything there as well. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. No questions? Chat room? Also no questions? All right, then I'm going to move on. There's Mr. Virtue and, sorry, I keep pressing the wrong button. There is Mr. Virtue and Mr. Chloma's email addresses. Please contact them if you have any questions. Also, Mr. Homan, Mrs. Ward, they're also available to answer any questions. If you feel the high school staff is still daunting for you, you don't know them yet, but you still, as a grade 7 parent, have a question, then you're more than welcome to channel it via Mr. Homan or Mrs. Ward. Gladly assist you as well. Then, of course, our marketing manager, Mrs. Drew or Jo Marie, also there to assist you. Myself as well, if you have any questions. One question I've just preempt, you might want to know when school fees will be available for 2021. We are now going through the budgeting process, and we normally try to publish it in October, November. This year, I don't want to make a promise when we can publish it, because we just want to see what's the effect of COVID-19 on the school. As you know, we are in the re-registration process as well. And that will also help us to see what's our pupil body for next year. But we are working hard behind the scenes to get that done and to present it to the board and finance committee, and that we can get it, that we can get the school fees published for next year. But This year it might be a little bit later just because we're trying to see what's the effect on the school and also what's happening in the economy in South Africa as well. I hope that makes sense. Still no questions? There's my contact details. If you don't have it, there's my email address and there's my cell phone number. More than welcome to contact me. Again, a reminder, anything academic, please contact the teachers, or now currently in grade 7, contact teachers or Mrs. Ward or Mr. Homan. All academic questions, I'll just back to the staff. Any operational matter, like COVID-19 or anything else that involves our finances or whatever involves the operational side besides academics, you're more than welcome to contact me directly. Just a reminder, we are in this together and we will get through this together. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you are looking forward to move over to the high school next year. Yes, it's daunting, I know, but also remember that majority of you are moving over, so at least you have a familiar face, a friend already that's there. I know you're always a bit worried about, you hear the high school staff is strict. Don't worry, they're strict, but they are got hearts of gold and they will look out for you and care for you just as much as the primary school staff did as well. And I know they're all looking forward to meet you next year in the high school. Parents and pupils, thank you for joining me. Also staff that joined me tonight, thank you for joining me. I wish you all a wonderful night. Thank you.